Hey there, lovelies. It's your girl April. I wanted to make a tutorial about PSRs or previous support and resistance levels. And if we have time, we'll go over a little bit about trend lines and how to draw them. Okay, so just really basic. One thing about me is that when it comes to my charting, I like really easy, clean charts. I don't put like a whole bunch of just craziness on the charts because then I can't even read them, right? So PSRs, previous support and resistance, is made from historical data that we utilize in our chart that tells us from the past what will happen in the future. And we can find this information by finding levels of consolidation. Okay, so levels of consolidation are basically areas where price action basically had a fight between the bulls and the bears, or the people who were buying and selling. And so it does this little bunch up type thing that happens on the chart. And when you see an area of consolidation, you know that wherever the consolidation has kind of like a bottom plateau where price basically continues to bounce up from that area, that's what we call your support or your floor. Okay, and if I'm on the floor, above my head would be considered my ceiling, correct? So that ceiling or the top level of consolidation would be considered our resistance. So we're resisting trying to get past this area which is above us. Or we have support for our floor so we can't fall down, right? But if we're able to surpass that support, then now we go into another level. If it's below us, if it happened in the past, we would call that previous support. But if it hasn't happened yet and then we see this consolidation, we just call it consolidation. Okay? Whatever was your previous support will be your future resistance. So if price was going down for a certain amount of time and then it decided to start going the opposite direction or up, again, like I said, your previous support, which was this floor right here, once I go past that floor, if I try to go above it or if I try to go up, that's no longer a floor for me, right? That would be my ceiling or my resistance. So I break through that, and now because of the past, I already have a level drawn here. So price already knows it's going to be a fight. So what can you expect as a trader projecting into the future? You already know there's most likely going to be consolidation or a fight between price. If the buyers win, of course, we're going to break past that resistance level and keep going up. Okay, on this particular pair, Euro AUD, you can see the bottom of this price action we had at 1.1658, and the highest level that I put a resistance level for was 2.0169. Now you may ask, well, why didn't you put your line up here? Well, whenever you see wicks or these lines either above or below, that means usually there was a big fight, and when it came to the volume for that particular level, it was so great that price didn't stand a chance. Like it went up and then poof, it just dropped. Okay? Or if you see a wick from the bottom, it means it went down and then poof, price just skyrocketed up so quickly that a candle wasn't even able to be actually made. Like the body of the candle, which is that colored in part. So this part right here where it's green, where it's red, if you see a wick, that basically means there was so much fighting and price to go up or down, it didn't last in that area long enough for the body to form at this particular time frame. Whenever you're drawing your previous support and resistance levels, especially as a long-term trader, you always want to go to the highest time frame you can, which as you can see, I'm on the monthly time frame. You scroll all the way back, and then you find all these levels of consolidation and just put a line. Put a line, put a line, put a line, put a line, put a line. Personally, what I like to do is the very bottom for my support, I like to make that a thicker line. The very top for my resistance, I like that to be a thicker line. And you can change the colors up however you want to signify. For me, I usually change the colors from red to green. So if it's red, usually that means that price was below where, like, the price is currently trading above a certain area. Anything below it is going to be red. If price is trading and there's levels above it, I usually turn those green. But for this particular pair, when I made my chart, this is a chart from years ago, and look, it's still the same. I barely have to change it once you do everything, because history repeats itself. So I think when I first made this chart, I drew this upwards trend line, and price hadn't even gone all the way up like this yet. And so that's why they're still in red. But you can change the colors however you want. All right, and then let's see. We already talked about your previous support will be future resistance. You see that? The support right here is the resistance for when the pair decides to go the opposite direction. And your previous resistance, so let's say it went all the way up, right? So your previous resistance is going to be future support. So now price is trying to go down past this. This is a support level now, and it was able to break it, and it broke all the way down. So currently on this Euro AUD pair, it's currently trading at 1.5493. And as you can see, this upwards trend line has been broken. The question is it a confirmed break, or is it still in the process of trying to consolidate and figure out what it wants to do? Usually we say the trend is your friend. Always trade in the direction of your trend until it bends. And that's where you have long-term traders like me that love those opportunities. Sometimes it's a little bit riskier because there's a lot of price action and volatility in these areas where this break could be. So you want to trade carefully with, proper money management, and we'll talk about that in another video. Okay, so last but not least, just really quick, when it comes to trend lines. So for this one, it was going in an upwards trend line. What you would do is you would utilize this tool right here, which I forgot to show you in the beginning. This tool. The ones I use the most are going to be your trend line and your horizontal line. To draw these straight lines, I use the horizontal line, and for my trend line, obviously, I use trend line. So then with this one, you put one point of your trend line at the very bottom, and then you take the other part of your trend line and you just draw it. Here, let me show you. So I click it, and I'm going to put it back to how it originally was, which was just a point. And then I would draw this to the highest point, where I usually I put my trend lines for the wicks, and I put my previous supports usually closest to wherever I see like the body is. Sometimes it falls on the wicks, but usually it's the body that we're looking for. But for our trend lines, we want as much as possible to confirm whether or not a trend has been broken. So right here, as you can see, this is the lowest point at which price had gone. And then right here, so if you can draw it equally, you can do that, right? But usually what I like to do is find the point at which the angle of price is able to hit my trend line, and then what I do is I just scroll up and we're gonna go left end, and I want to extend. And then that way, every point at which price bounced off the trend line, we want to capture that. So price bounced off the trend line, went up right here. Right here, price tried to bounce but failed. And as you can see, we're currently trading in an area that is probably most definitely a trend reversal. Okay, so as you see right here, I wrote a note, trend reversal at 1.5235, and a range from that to 1.5188. Okay, so this trend reversal is just to kind of give me a range at which I need to start looking to go the opposite direction. Instead of buying, I want to sell. Because again, I'm a long-term trader. I like to see when I have areas of trend line breaks, of major trend lines. So that's on your monthly trend, you're going to have a major break. If that happens, that's when you need to start looking for areas for you to go the opposite direction. Okay, and we'll talk about that another day. But for the most part, that's how you draw a trend line. That's how you draw your PSRs at those levels of consolidation. When it's below consolidation or at the bottom of consolidation, what's that called? Support. That's right. It's your floor, right? Your floor is supporting you. If it's above an area of consolidation, what do we call that? Resistance, or it's your ceiling. Okay? And then always remember, what was your previous resistance will be your future support. And then the opposite. Whatever is your previous support will be your future what? Resistance. That's right. Okay, so please make sure that you guys are practicing, because practice makes perfect. Look out for more videos on my Patreon at Savvy Investing or Genius Invest, whichever you want to look up, for more of these free video tutorials. If you want to show me some support and keep this kind of content going, you can actually join my Patreon and donate. Whatever you're gonna give is up to you, but of course, no pressure. And then you can also find me on Twitter at CaramelNatural6, or you can look me up on YouTube, just April Michelle. Alright, so please like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Deuces.